guess what I found in my box? The bit you bolt to the side of the wheel to turn it and get the belt on. What a spoon!
To be young and in love in New York City, to not know who I am but still know that I'm good long as you're here with me. To be drunk in love in New York City, yeah. Burning through the hours talking, I might have to tell you something. I like me better when I'm with you.
Guys, I haven't spoke to you in a while and I'm sure you've missed me just like I've missed you. The task today was to change the water pump and put new coolant in, and that included the belts. Now I forgot to start recording at the same time as starting the job, so I'll just explain to you what I've done and how I've done it so far. So as you can imagine, the belt was on. I got the spoon at this angle just underneath. I rotated the crank, bringing the spoon round at the same time as pushing the spoon, which includes the bend, so definitely throw it away. And eventually, after a couple of small rotations, not even a full turn, it fell off. That's how easy it was to do. On the top side, because I was thinking I've got small hands and I can do this, quite clearly I'm not going to be able to. First off, I tested to see if I could undo these because I don't have a breaker bar. They're easy to do with just a piece of extension pipe onto the size, what was it? The size 19mm, which managed to get that off. Another hindrance at this juncture was the tensioner pulley that's mounted at the top here. Now it's only 3 10mm bolts. I thought I'd just get it out of the way. You probably don't have to, but I'm trying to make this simple and easy. Quite clearly, to raise the engine up to get that pulley out, which looks like the mathematical to bring it up rather than down, as there's more clearance at the top here than there is at the bottom, which means we only have to move the engine a little bit. So therefore it will be better to remove that mount there. And as you can see, that looks like that needs changing soon as well, because that's going bad and we don't want to lose that, do we? But before I do that, I'm going to have to use a bit of clever thinking now, because to remove the round part which holds the belt on the water pump, we have to loosen these 3 screws. Nuts, should I say. There's 1, 2, 3. As you can see, I've already loosened it. As I said, I forgot to start filming when I started the job. But when you try to turn these, the thing just turns. Luckily for me, Ford, if you can see it, have got holes inside it. And what I did was use this extension. I fed it through the hole, like so. And then when I started loosening the nuts with my 10mm ratchet spanner, because you've got really no room in there, you can see I've started to undo them. So I'm making a tough job simple by using a bit of God knows how brain power. Right, for this one I'm going to actually show you what I'm doing. So I want to get that one. The hole is there, so I'm going to feed this through the hole. It's a bit of a nut trying to get it in. As I said, yeah, it does go in. You have to get it at the right angle. Right, once it's in the hole, get it round to where you can reach, and get your 10mm ratchet spanner, which was the right way to undo, which is lefty undo, righty tighty. Right. And then just, there's me being a spack, trying to be clever. I've only gone and put it on the wrong way, so I turn it round. This isn't super tight, it's enough for this little spanner to do. Right, so we just gently loosen it, slacken it off. I've got the water pipe in the way and made it difficult for myself, but that's because I'm holding the camera at the same time. And after a bit of toggle, sorry, just waiting for those people to pass because I don't like talking when other people are making noise. So with a bit of toggle, after a little squeeze, it'll come free. Put your spanner out the way and you should be able to reach in and start slackening them off more with your fingers. This is easy. The hardest part will be getting that out once these screws are out, because apparently that's why you have to move the engine, but I might have a little trick. Right, put that out of the way, turn it round, put it back in again, I'll do that one. Once they're slackened quite a bit, you can get them off with your fingers usually. Now your car might be rusted or seized from age. Might be a fairly new car and you might not have to worry about anything. I mean, I wouldn't want to try putting any sort of WD-40 on there, not that it would hurt, but you risk getting some on the belts if it leaks down, and you don't want any on your belts at all, because this needs to be a grip for the belt to go round. Right, I have successfully taken them out without moving the engine. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is going to be fun, because if that comes out without having to take the engine mount off, as you can see I've removed one nut already from that bolt. If I can do that without taking that engine mount off, I am going to be laughing. Let's have a better look. One of the little other clever tasks I've had to think of, because I had a small piece of pipe to drain the coolant from the radiator, didn't quite fit, so I've had to devise a plan using an old milk bottle as a collector, a guide into the collecting bucket. Let's have a look how it looks. So as you can see, I've used the cable tidy, an old milk bottle. Here's my collector pot for the coolant. And as I understand it, we just loosen the little nut, which is located behind here. It's a plastic one, and let the coolant drain out. At this point, it's also a good idea to open the one at the top of the engine so that the air can force it all down via gravity. And this could be one of the problems this car's got. This seems tighter every time I undo it. So I think the expansion tank itself needs replacing, and most likely the cap as well, which is a good thing to do every sort of 30 or 40,000 miles, maybe more, a little bit more, maybe every 50,000, because these things are not designed to last. I wouldn't know for sure if that's a bad setup or not, but all I know is that no matter how much liquid we put in here, even alcohol doesn't stay in there. So as I understand it, it just drains out when you loosen it. It's going to take a while. Oh wow, that turned into an absolute mess. I've got it all everywhere. It's all gone down there. It's gone down my arm. It's gone everywhere, but it's draining now, so hopefully if we just leave it like that for a little while, not as quick as I was hoping, we get there in the end. Okay, so looking at the new water pump, I can actually determine which nuts I have to remove from the side of the engine, because as you can see, it's caked up and there's quite a few different ones there that I don't want to remove by accident. So if we take off that one there, and that one there, and there's one right at the bottom, we should be in good states to change it. It's coming, but it's so small. You only need to crack it open by the look of it. As you can see, my tattoo is of Chloe Esme. She will be turning 7 in 3 days. Probably 2 by the time this video is uploaded. Those will look good to be reused. Right, that's the first one out. I think the next one is this second one. The next one is this one here, and then directly down, because it's a triangle shape, should be just, might be a bit harder to get to, but imagine if I reach up from down below, because there's a large enough gap there for my arm. It looks smaller on the phone, but just like a good 2.5 inches there, my wrist should get up there. Right, rumour has it, and I can quite clearly see that the thing is stuck because it's been on there for 9 years, or however long it's been sitting, probably 10 years, because they build them and they sit there, and however long it's been. So I'm going to give it a little tap in a couple of little places using this, and probably a piece of wood, or maybe I'll get a chisel or something and just hold it there and just give it a little tap in a few places just to loosen it up. I'm going to commit an act of sacrilege now in the world of tools and mechanics. I'm not a mechanic, so don't listen to me. Don't do anything I tell you. Everything you do is on your own. I can't find my tool to tap with, so I'm just going to use this extension. As I said, it's light, it shouldn't really damage it. I know it's not the right tool for the right job, but at the end of the day, my life is such a mess. I use every bit of help that I can get, and if this thing does the job, then I'm all for it, because I can't see myself using this again. If I break it, I'll just go and buy a new one. I'll have to work for about 6 months though to pay for it. Okay, so I'm just going to locate it. Tap a few places. Okay, so it's off. You do not need to remove the engine mount to change the water pump on a 2013 Focus ST. Make sure you clean it up well, especially around where the seal is going to go on the new water pump, because if that's not located properly, you could find yourself in a bit of a sticky situation. Now, with the new water pump, it may have the rubber seal already on, which in my case was good. Got it from Auto Dock. It's not an expensive water pump, it's just what I need to do the job. Doesn't have to be Ford branded, remember that. Aftermarket stuff can be as good or better, because Ford will not use the best parts in any case. Some of the stuff is really shit. And sorry Ford, I love you to pieces, but in terms of quality, there are some things you lack on and you overprice it. But that's my opinion, and in no way, shape or form meant to detriment you as a company. But luckily for me, this water pump has the seal already in place. But just to make it easier to get into the hole without damaging it, I'm going to put a little bit of Vaseline on it. You can use any normal Vaseline. You can even use lip gloss, or not lip gloss, lip stuff when your lips get dry, which is what I'm going to do, just to make it easier to get on without damaging it. A bit like when you do an oil change, you put a bit of oil around the one on the oil filter, just so that it goes in nice and snug without any crinks and kinks and rips and tears, which is what we're trying to avoid here. And it also acts as a sealant, because what it does is it stops air traveling through. So if that stops air, it should stop moisture, which means we're good to go. Right, so making sure we get it the right way round, as we don't want to damage this one. Okay, turn it round a good couple of times to make sure that you've got the screws around the right places. We got one here, we got one there, and we know we've got one just off center at the bottom. With the coolant stopped dribbling out and the water pump located in place with our nice clean water pump there, you can see where the screw goes without even needing an education. So let's get it in. So I'm locating the third one now. So far, so good. Once again, the importance of getting them home and straight and tight couldn't be exaggerated, because this is your water pump. It pushes the coolant around the engine, keeping it cool. So right, now that's done, let's dry up some of these belt wheels and see if we can get the belts back on. As you know, this incredible discovery of taking off the water pump pulley wheel without moving the engine was the highlight of this whole task, because you see so many people, they jack up the engine, they lower the engine, they lever the engine, they take out the engine mount and everything just to get this out, and the water pump. But quite clearly you don't have to, which was a flipping bonus in my book. Using my fingers to hold in the nut in through the hole, I'm now going to learn where the hole is, gently tighten it up a little bit, not all the way. The tightening will come when all three of these are in, and we'll use our trusty extension again to get them nice and snug. Once again, we've got our socket extension in place. The wheel's going to go that way this time, so it's going to rest on the mount for the alternator and the mount for the water pump itself. But as I say, do it gently, take your time. They only have to be snug and a bit more. Using our 10mm ratchet spanner, you can just crank it up nice and tight. There we go, that's one. Take the extension from the wheel and rotate to about a similar position. Insert the male extension into the female wheel and locate the 10mm and just gently tighten up until you can't turn it no more without hurting yourself. That should be snug enough. And again, turn it to the third position, roughly there. Insert the male into the female. I'm scratching the paint here, but under the engine bay, it's not really important, is it? I mean, I know there's perfectly nice engine bays out there that some of you guys have done. You're probably looking at my videos going, what a prick. You've probably done more than me, you've probably got more money than me, and your cars are probably amazing compared to mine. I love my car, but I can only do so much on the income I'm on and the lifestyle I live. Right, so now that's done, we can work on the belts. Starting off with the pulley, which is the tensioning pulley for releasing the belt, because you lever it towards the engine to slacken it off. A bit tighter at the bottom for some reason, could be just a bit of grease there. But it's tightening up, it's going in nice and straight, so once that's in, it'll be job done. Remember to make it nice and snug, but not overly, because you don't want to mess it up. Same with the top one and the middle one. To move the pulley, it's a size 15, you just get it on, you push it towards the engine and that's what moves it and enables you to get it free of the belt. So what I've done here is I've just hooked it over the pulley so that it doesn't drop down. But what it needs to do, it needs to go around the crank and it goes backwards so that the back side of it goes around the water pump, and then the rest of it is fed round the inside of the belt. You'll see what I mean once I've done it, but just for now, in fact, I'm going to put it around the water pump just so that it doesn't drop to the floor, because it's hard to feed it up and down when you're when you're at the top you can't reach the bottom, and when you're at the bottom you can't reach the top. It makes sense once I'm under there. Okay, that was fiddly, so let's have a closer look at what I've done. Okay, so you can see how it goes backwards around this, the water pump, and it goes backwards around that guide pulley there, it looks like. If I can just get a bit of focus. It's hard to see, but there is a wheel there, and the water pump's here, and this is the tensioner pulley. As I said, you need to push it that way to get the belt around the wheel, and once it's around there, everything seems to fit and locate into all the little grooves and crannies in all the various different things. The water pump and the alternator are all squared off. Now it goes around the inside closest to the engine bay of the crank. As you can see, it's around the inside of the crank close to the engine, because this is another belt which feeds the noisy compressor of the air conditioning unit. Now that's the bit we need the spoon for. Guys, I had a lot of trouble trying to get it around both the pulleys. I do recommend you get the tool. I'm going to try and figure something out to get this on. Fingers crossed. But as you can see, they're the two pulleys. It goes around the crank and around the compressor. Without further ado, I'm going to get my spoon in there. I'm going to try and do it. I'm not giving up, because I don't give up. I'm Danny D in the place to be. Good news, folks. It is on. It wasn't actually that hard, and to be honest, the spoon helped so much. All I did was angle it in at this angle and pulled the spoon as far as I could that way, while getting my 21mm as high up as I could, and it took right round until I got to here before it snapped on and was in good place. Now looking at it, is perfect. It looks lined up and everything. Let's have a look underneath to make sure. It looks well seated into the compressor and alongside the main pulley itself. So I think we're onto a winner here. All I have to do now is take this off, do that back up so that no more coolant comes out when I top it up, and wipe it all down. And then I'm good to go. Right, so we've managed to do all that, and with a bit of trickery you can see that the wheel arch cover is back on, and now the wheel. With the car safely on the ground now and the level topped up to the max line, we are going to prime the system, which means leaving that off, starting the engine and revving the shit out of it. Rev the engine for 2 minutes at 2.5 RPM, 2 minutes at 4,000 with the cap on, provided that the level hasn't dropped. A further 2 minutes at 3.5. and then another 2 minutes at 2000, educating the engine back down to where it should be, and then let the beastie calm down. The engine coolant seems to have dropped a little bit, which I was expecting, but there are no leaks anywhere. This is just where the system's priming itself and all the air bubbles are coming up to the top. That will drop off, and then in the next day or two, top it up just a little bit to make sure that you've got enough. Looking at the belts and the water pump, all seems normal. A job well done, I think. The old belt for the air conditioning compressor is in very, very good condition, and it's done well to last 97,000 miles without any wear, it seems. It's amazing how good this quality piece of technology is. It's an original Ford Motor Company part. There you go, there's the part number if you want to replace yours. As I said, I got mine from Autodoc, and again with the serpentine belt itself, made in the USA, funny enough. This is the original belt. It doesn't seem to have any wear in it at all. It's done so well. I must not have needed to change it, but Ford recommends it should be changed every 70 to 90,000 miles, and that's what's happened. I've done it along with the water pump. Unbelievable. Not even any cracks anywhere. It's like a brand new belt, just a bit dusty from 9 years of age.